Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to rule your world from within. This is big. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from a subscriber that said, Tom, I've been using affirmations now for several months and with no results. None of my desires have manifested, and I'm just getting tired of them. And I was wondering, what can I do now? And what are your thoughts on affirmations? Well, guys, we're going to talk about this today and more. So the first thing I want to say, and I've talked about affirmations before, and I even in the previous video quoted Jesus as Jesus warned against affirmations, saying be careful of or beware of vain repetitions. Right? Just repeating things without feeling it and believing it, right? Without believing it's already yours, without feeling it's already yours, right? And a lot of times when we use affirmations, we use them to get something or to manifest something. So oftentimes, instead of affirming that your wish is already fulfilled, instead of affirming that it's already yours, it affirms or confirms the lack of it or the absence of your desire. That's what a lot of times affirmations do, right? So really, you want to move from affirmations really to the realization, from an affirmation to the realization that your desire is already yours. But even bigger than that, the realization that you're one with God, that you're one with all there is, that all the creative power comes from within you. Right? That's a lot of times, sometimes affirmations are effective because we believe in them. Or the process we're using, whether it's scripting or imagining our wish fulfilled or whatever process we use, is because we believe if we do that process, our manifestation will come. So it's not the process, it's not the affirmation that manifests it, it's merely our belief in it, our faith in it. Hear this. So it's all coming from within anyway. So move from affirmation to the realization that it's all coming from within you. The realization that you're one with all there is, that you're one with God. Right? That all the creative power to be, do, or have whatever your heart desires comes from within you. Because you were made in God's image. That's where it needs to come from. This is how you collapse time and space, right? By coming to that realization. So it's not even an affirmation, it's you realizing it, you recognizing it, you assuming that you are one with God, that you are God, right? That you do create your own reality, right? Time and space is collapsed according to the degree of intensity that you realize you're one with Source. Hear this. Time and space is collapsed according to the degree of the intensity that you realize that you are one with Source, right? Really, what is faith? Faith equals that desire, your pure desire, right? Desire without lack, desire without resistance, plus the expectation of its fulfillment. Right? It's desire plus full absolute expectation that it will be fulfilled, that it's already fulfilled in that dimensionally larger reality. It's already fulfilled in ultimate reality, and that as you persist in that faith, that it will manifest in 3D. Right? That's why we can have faith, because if we have this realization that we're one with God, that we're one with Spirit, that we're one with infinity, then we can have that faith. We can know that our desires, when we desire it, that pure desire, right? The desire without resistance, and we can expect the full realization of it in 3D reality because we already have the fulfillment in that dimensionally larger reality. It's already manifested in the unseen realm. So we can fully expect that it will be manifested in the seen realm as we stay in that faith because we know who we are, right? All the power on heaven and earth is in faith, right? In that faith. All the power is in faith, the faith of who you really are. Hear this, right? There is no power in doubt, right? There's no power in fear. There's no power in worry. All those go away because they make no sense when you have the realization that you're one with God. They make no sense when you have the realization that you're one with Source, or you're one with that divine supply. This makes no sense. Faith is all there is left, right? That expectation that it's done, that it's yours. So let's unpack this a little bit more. Identify with and as God, right? Identify with and as God. We talked about think God, right? But let's even go a step further and identify with and as God, as infinity, as the intelligent mind, all there is, or infinite spirit. This is what Jesus said. Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The Father abiding in me does his works. This is John 14:10. I love the way that Jesus said this. Do you not believe that I'm in the Father and the Father is within me? You're one with I and my Father are one, right? And the Father abiding in me does the work. So it's not up to you to do it. It's not up to you from a 3D perspective to affirm something into manifestation, right? Because a lot of times affirmations, the reason that many times they don't work is because we're affirming from that 3D perspective. We're affirming from that three-dimensional realm, right? So when you have this expectation, when you have this realization of the God within you, now the faith comes with it, right? How can you doubt? How can you fear anything with that knowing, right? When you are one with Source and divine supply, lack makes no sense. Fear makes no sense. Worry makes no sense. Hear this, right? When you are one with Source, when you're one with divine supply, lack makes no sense. Fear makes no sense. Worry makes no sense. It makes no sense. I and my Father are one. Jesus was clear on this, right? Your life becomes magical and miraculous with you moving to this realization. When you move to this realization, right, your life becomes magical, miraculous when you move to this realization that you're one with that divine supply, right? It's a realization. You don't affirm your way there. It's a knowing, right? So the more you open yourself up to the divine source, the more you identify with it and as it, and the more that unlimited power flows to you and through you. This is the miraculous thing. It's like we talked about in the prodigal son, right? When the prodigal son returned and his father saw him a ways off and went running to him, right? So as soon as you point to that divine source, as soon as you make your way there, it comes to you, right? The more you open yourself up to that divine source, the more you identify with it and as it, because it moves towards you, it moves through you as you move to it. Right? The more that unlimited power flows to you and through you. The only limitations ever are your willingness to identify with infinity. Your willingness to say, God is within me and I am within God. Right? Your willingness to give up all other beliefs, all other idols, right, in the 3D world and go with this one belief, right? That's the inexhaustible divine inflow. It flows to you and it's inexhaustible. It continually flows to you, right? It's a conscious realization, right? Think of the law of assumption as Neville Goddard talks about. You assume it. It's a conscious assumption, right? It's done. It's yours. More than an exercise of affirmations, right? It's a recognition of your true identity as a divine being or your true nature, right? We said name means nature, right? The name of God or the nature of God. It's a recognition of your true divine identity as a divine being. Processes can't give you that realization. Affirmations and processes can't give you that realization. You've got to realize it and know it and acknowledge it. Hear this, right? To the extent you identify with this infinite source, you allow that higher power to work and manifest through you. Right? We've talked about moving to alternative realities, right? By identifying with a new version of yourself. Well, now here, you're identifying with the ultimate version of yourself, the divine version, right? That's the starting point now. From there, you can move anywhere. Wow, that's big. So, Jesus completely identified with and as God. This is what made Jesus so special. right? He completely identified with and as God. There was not a question of it, right? And this is what he said. I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do, because I go to the Father. I go to that unconditioned awareness. I recognize, I realize I'm one with God. I'm one with that divinity. I'm one with that infinite spirit or that infinite power, right? That unseen realm, right? Jesus said it here, and here's the promise. We can do the works that Jesus did in greater works than these. He said it 2,000 years ago. How? By identifying with it. By identifying as and with your divine God, your divine inheritance, right? Infinite spirit or consciousness, right? Or unconditioned consciousness or God consciousness or the Christ in you, whatever you want to call it, the intelligent mind, right? The quantum field, whatever you want to call it, that's what's required. The story of Jesus is a complete and undeviating persistence in the assumption that you are what you want to be. This is Neville Goddard. Right? I love it. The story of Jesus is a complete and undeviating persistence in the assumption that you are what you want to be. It doesn't deviate from that. Right? It's complete. As you walk, this is what else Neville says, as you walk in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled, you are calling upon the name of God, the nature of God, the name of God, and conjuring that which you are assuming. Big. You're calling on the nature or the name of God, right? And conjuring that which you're assuming as you walk in that assumption. Here is the law of assumption, right? It doesn't get more simple than that. You are not here to live a small, limited life, right? You, by your nature, by the nature of your being, by your divine nature, by the name of God or the nature of God, you're here, you are here, right? Your inheritance is to a larger, unlimited life. All of us have an unlimited capacity to be, do, or have whatever our heart desires, right? But we let fear seep in, we let doubt seep in, and we get comfortable living a smaller life, a safe life, one where we don't have to deal with failure or fear of failure, right? There is no failure. You are God. God is within you. There's no such thing. You can't fail, right? It makes no sense, right? Here's the 3D you. Here's your higher self. What connects you to that higher self, to God? Well, it's higher thought. It's higher conscious thought. That's all that's required. Right? To think God, as we talked about in the last video. That higher thought is the connector between the 3D you and that higher self, right? It's done in the desiring of it, but to manifest it, you must expect it. You must take it for granted. It's done when you desire it. But to manifest it, you've got to expect it and take it for granted. Then it will manifest in the 3D reality, right? It's done and manifested in that dimension larger, in the unseen, when you desire it. It's not enough to desire the larger life, but you must expect its full manifestation and fulfillment in the 3D world, right? It's not enough to desire or daydream about a larger life. You've got to expect it. You've got to assume it, right? Desire plus faith and conviction equals fulfillment in the 3D world. Desire plus faith and conviction is the fulfillment or the manifestation in the unseen reality. Hear this. When you have desire plus faith and conviction, then it's already manifested in the dimensionally larger reality, in the unseen reality. And as you walk in that, then it must become fulfilled, full-on manifestation in the 3D world, right? House divided. You don't want to remember, a house divided among itself is when you desire one thing and you expect another. When you desire one thing but you expect a different outcome, right? This is when we desire something but we fear we're not going to get it. Now we're a house divided, right? So it's lining up your desire with faith and conviction, right? Recognize the world of 3D conditions and effects has no power other than the power you give them with your attention and awareness. The 3D world, as much as we focus on this, And when we don't get what we want, or we manifest something that we didn't want, we call that a failure. We focus on that. We perceive it. We see it. We judge it. None of that is true. It's only if you believe it's true. Failure is impossible. Unwanted outcomes are impossible. Right? It all is because it's all within you to perceive it and judge it and see it. Do you hear this? It's all within your belief. It has no power over you. None of these conditions unless you give them that power. When you do this, you put yourself and you put yourself in harmony with what is. When you recognize that 3D conditions have no power over you, that conditions and effects have no power except the attention and the awareness you give them, now you put yourself in harmony with what is. You put yourself in harmony with all of creation, right? Because remember, what is the present moment. And what you're seeing in the 3D world is your perception in that moment. It's already past, but your perception of the moment. You have complete dominion over heaven and earth by creating your ideal in a world, by creating your ideal in a world, right? And remember what Jesus said when he was in front of Pontius Pilate, right? He says, "You have," and Pontius Pilate said, "Don't you know I can crucify you or set you free?" And Jesus says, "You have no authority over me unless it had been given to you from above." Jesus was clear. Remember, Pilate represented the 3D world, right? The outer events and circumstances. They have no power over you, no authority over you unless they're given from you, from within or from above, right? That's what Jesus was saying. That's your inner state of consciousness, right? So how do we do it? How do we get there? How do we move to that realization and then walk in that realization? Well, we've talked about this before. How do you rule your world from within? Well, find your spiritual center. Really, that's what you want, right? When you find this spiritual center of knowing who you really are, nothing can move you after that. Without your permission, without you creating the inner state to match it, right? By realizing and accepting your oneness with infinity. Find your spiritual center by realizing and accepting your oneness with infinity. That's a realization, right? It's not about affirming it. It's not even about imagining it. It's about knowing it and realizing that you're one with infinity, that you're one with God. You're one with that spiritual power. That's how you find your spiritual center, right? Now you're centered, right? Instead of surrendering to outside people, circumstances, events, recognize your divine origin, right? Remember, we're mostly spiritual. 99.9999% of nothing. We're made of energy. Yet we're giving all our power over to that 0.0001% of the 3D manifestation, right? We're mostly divine. We're mostly spirit, right? Fear and lack of faith come from forgetting your source. You're mostly unseen than seen. We've talked about this before, right? Like we said in the last video, think God, think love, think oneness. Your inner world gives you everything. Your outer world gives you nothing. Hear this, yet we're so preoccupied with it, right? We let it affect our feelings and our emotions and we react to it. Instead, only know that all power comes from your inner world. Your inner world gives you everything. That's where your power is. That's where your spiritual center is, right? And so how do you get there? Well, you can I'd like to do 3-minute 0-point meditations, right? Close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, get in that alpha state of relaxation, body totally relaxed, right? And then make a few I am affirmations. This is a great use of them, right? Because you're already in the alpha state. I am infinite spirit, or I am divine love. It's such a relief. Or it can just be I am, right? Without conditioning it. Knowing that I am is the statement in itself. Even without saying infinite spirit, I am. Or even without saying I am divine love, I am is enough. It's enough. In fact, it is everything. I am that I am. Remember, God said that to Moses. Tell them that I am sent you. Right? It's enough. But I like to say I am infinite spirit or I am divine love. It really gets you into that spiritual center. And then fear, doubt, worry, the things in the 3D world make no sense anymore, right? You can have fun with them, right? As I often say in other videos, in that Neil Donald Walsh says in Conversations with God, enjoy the hell out of them. Because the 3D world can be hell, so enjoy the hell out of it. Have fun, right? I am infinite spirit. I'm divine love. This really makes you invincible to the outside world, right? This is how to rule your world from within. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. Hit us up on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, our website at tomcaron.com, at BeSomethingWonderful.com, or write me to say hello at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I always love to hear from you. Until next time, this is Tom with great love. See you soon.